This is the second video for equalization, which draws upon the technique and the theory of the first video in order to give you an idea to how to EQ other parts of your multi-track recording. So the parts that we didn't deal with were the rest of the drum kit. So to start with the drum kit, for your overheads, you're probably going to want to cut the low end using a high pass filter, which is this filter here. And you're probably going to want to boost the top end of the drum kit, and the reason for that is that you're going to want to make the cymbals sound brighter. Now, the more EQ you apply, and especially the more you boost, the more the sound begins to sound unnatural. So it's usually better to cut from a sound. Now in this case, when listening to the drum kit, I'm quite happy with that application of higher EQ in order that it makes the cymbals brighter. So if I open up the EQ for the other overhead, the application of EQ ought to be the same. And once you have your EQ for one particular part, and it needs to be the same as the next, then all you need to do is to hold Alt and Command on your keyboard, left click on the plugin you want to copy, and then drag that to the particular channel and it will copy. So there I have my completed overheads. Now the snare drum, you're probably going to want to again control the lower part of the frequency spectrum, and you may wish to EQ to ensure that the snare doesn't sound too boxy, and the boxiness of a snare drum usually occurs around about between 4 and 500 Hertz. You may want for the snare drum to become a lot crisper, and that crispness can be achieved through boosting between 2 and 4 kHz, but again not too much. And you may find that you need to make it crisper still by boosting in the presence and brilliance bandwidths. For your kick drum, if you're happy with the sound, I would recommend that you stick with perhaps controlling those low end frequencies. If the kick drum needs a bit more boominess, then you can boost at around about between 150 to 250 Hertz, and that will make the kick drum a bit beamier and punchier. For a clickier bass drum, you could probably boost at somewhere around about between 2 and 4 kHz to give more click to the kick. And that will give it a bit more presence so that it's clearer in the mix. As for the bass guitar, the application of EQ can be similar to the bass drum, although what you may wish to do is to cut particular frequencies before you boost. So if the bass perhaps isn't as prominent over the kick drum as you want it to be, I could cut at 200 Hertz from the kick drum, remembering to have a narrow Q, and that would therefore make the bass more prominent in that area of the frequency spectrum. So again, taking away from sounds using EQ is probably better than adding to them with EQ. Other considerations are your guitar. Now, in order that the guitar is clear against the bass and we can still hear the bass, you'll probably need to make sure that your use of a high pass filter and the frequency set to is higher. So if we listen to the guitar part and watch it, these lower end frequencies are those that perhaps we don't want to get in the way of the bass guitar. Which are a lot more prominent. So an application of a high pass filter to control those low frequencies. For a bit of warmth, somewhere between 250 and 2000 Hertz would be great for guitar. So here I've selected about 500 Hertz. And in order for the guitar to not take up too much of the middle of the frequency spectrum and to give a bit of space for the lead guitar part, what I've done is I have cut at this frequency for all guitar parts and boosted at that frequency for the lead guitar part, and you'll hear that actually it makes the lead guitar part sound a lot clearer in the mix.
Here lies a city on fire, singing along the arsonist's choir.
And you'll notice as well that there's no actual difference in the peak volume of those sounds. It's just that the frequency content has been changed, so therefore the lead guitar part becomes clearer. So to clarify, the EQ for all rhythm guitar parts should probably be similar if you are aiming for the communication of perhaps just one rhythm guitar part, and then your lead guitar part could have a different EQ in order that it is clear and it stands apart from the rhythm. So that is a basic approach to EQ for the rest of your multi-track recording. Your actual application of EQ may vary a little bit in terms of frequency selected and by how much you amplify or attenuate, so boost or cut particular frequencies in terms of gain and volume. Again, don't forget to refer back to the golden rules of EQ and the audio bands for EQ so that you're really sure and certain about the theory of EQ and you can justify your use of it. Thank you very much for watching.